Yes. Welcome back to the Same Old Arsenal podcast. A special one this evening, of course, regarding the news. Unless you've been living under a rock for the past 2 hours, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has signed the thing, and he's an Arsenal player for another 3 years. Would imagine that taking him to the end of his career, hopefully, before he goes off to the New York Red Bulls or something, to get a few more quid in the bank before he retires. But the great news coming from the club today, that Aubameyang has signed a new contract. There he is with Arteta signing the thing. It's a massive moment for the club. The biggest contract extension, I think, that we've seen at the club. So important for us. He's our talisman. He's our captain. He's our goal scorer. He's a player that can make things happen from such little chances and things like that. So I'm so happy that Aubameyang has signed his new contract. Joining me, of course, is the judge. How are you, mate?
I'm very good, thank you very much, Craigie boy. Very good, very good.
What does this mean for Arsenal, Lee? I mean, we were just talking there off air quickly. Does this, like I said to you, Aubameyang said that he wanted to see the club's ambition before he signed a new contract. We've signed Willian on a free. We've signed Gabriel. That's probably not enough, surely, to get Aubameyang to sign a new contract. Do you think he knows something that we don't?
Well, hopefully. I think that if it was me, it wouldn't be enough to make me sign again. Those players, I think, I'd want a little bit more. But what I liked about what he said today was, there's big things to come from Arsenal. So I think that's positive. It's positive that he signed because, for one, he's one hell of a player. But two, it was going to cost us millions and millions of pounds to replace him. So it's chicken feed considering what we'd have had to have paid to get another striker.
Yeah.
And to convince him to sign, must have been fantastic. I just hope it's not just all about money. We're all talking about big money. I'm just hoping that it is about, where the club's going to go from here. And I think, as everybody's saying, it's a very, very positive window so far. To get the players that we have done, I think that we need to just. I honestly think now it's just about getting rid of. I say that horribly, like getting some players out, so that we can get some more players in because of the quota. So, and I'm pretty sure that's got to be somewhere along the reason that he signed, because he must have asked those questions. Where are we going from here? I think it's exciting times at Arsenal. We've seen what we've been doing over the last few months and games. It is looking exciting. We're all looking forward to Arsenal playing again at the weekend because of what's going on. And this is another big boost for us, definitely. And I think that it's been great that all the rumours that have been coming out lately, Craig, that Aubameyang has signed, or we've all been hearing it. I heard that he'd agreed this about a week ago, and we've all heard the rumours about Willian that he was going to sign, and we all heard the rumours about Gabriel, and there's a couple of others that are quite strong possibilities in the rumour mill. If those two can come in, and I can see on the chat that people are putting that, if those two do come in with the sign of Aubameyang on it, and also I think Ceballos as well. Let's not forget about Danny. It'd be an absolute. This is. I know like people go on about Chelsea's window, but I think this is unbelievable. Window, and do you know what the as great as this window is. And it's been the most exciting window, probably. And if we do get that, we bloody can't go. Do you imagine what it'd be like? Unbelievable. The buzz around the stadium at the moment would be incredible. Because we've been let down, I think, in the past by our business in the transfer window. I've always felt flat about it.
Yeah.
But with a couple of weeks to go, how can you say it? This time last week we was going on about Gabriel. The week before that, Willian. Now Aubameyang, Ceballos. You know what I mean? It's looking really, really good. We can get those other two in. I really think that our window is as good as it could be. I really do. I think we've addressed our problems at the back. We've now have got Aubameyang on board. It'd be interesting to see what happens with Lacazette now, by the way. But for me, getting him on board, look, he has just shown his worth over these last month or so. You know, with the cup final, the Community Shield, and the goal on Saturday, wasn't it? It just shows you what he can do and what he's about. And I just think it's fantastic that we've got him signed up. And it also, I think, was important, Craig, is it ends a little bit of the myth about the money situation, because we've obviously spent big on him, you know, in the wages department, and all this thing. Oh, we can't afford to pay wages in, we can't afford to pay wages there. Well, we have,
but very interesting on that point, Lee. A report come out yesterday that showed that Stan Kroenke hasn't paid in any money towards the club for 5 years.
No, he hasn't.
So he hasn't invested. We've had no direct investment from him for 5 years. So this thing about when we talk about that we haven't got any money, and we are seeing players signed up, and we did buy Aubameyang, and we have bought Gabriel, and we did bring Willian in on a free, and we bought Dani Ceballos in on loan. Perhaps the people that are running the club behind the scenes are doing the right thing.
Well, it seems to be running very, very well at the moment. And, you know, I think the one thing that our wonderful chairman, or whatever his owner, has done is that he has sort of let the loan go a little bit, and he, like, you know, so it means we haven't got to pay so much interest on the stadium. That's right. So that obviously is a good thing. And there is part of you that, you know, look, listen, there's a big chunk of me that would like to see us, like, our owner, come in and go, well, there's 200 million every year, go and buy whatever. But there is also that part of building something for a club, you know what I mean, building properly. And I think that if we can do that, and there's been the frustration for me over the Wenger years and all really the Emirates years, we've been one or two players away from really challenging for the title. Last season we were 6 or 7, you know what I mean? All of a sudden now we're back up to 2 again, you know what I mean? Now, can we get those 2 in there? And all of a sudden, if those 2 players were to come in, I would have hope, because at this moment in time, even though Aubameyang signed, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom here, even though Aubameyang signed, and all these players that we've got in at the moment, we're still not good enough to get into the top 4. So we need to cement these positive signings with the couple more that will get us over the line and challenging for top 4 and bigger and better things. And I'm pretty sure that if I was Aubameyang, that I would be asking those questions. I'm asking it as a fan, you know what I mean? Yeah. What are you going to do? So as he's in a position of more power than me, and I feel that at last, I think this is a big statement from him, not just him playing, that him that just not saying that from Fergus is quite funny. I think this is a big statement. I think it's a big statement for him to say, look, the club has got ambition, because in the past we've had these players in the same position as Pierre, i.e. Fabregas, i.e. Robin van Persie, and they've had these conversations and turned around and said, I don't think you haven't got you're not matching my ambition. But what was important that Pierre Aubameyang has turned around and said, they are matching my ambitions. There's exciting things going on. So from that point of view, hope. Yeah. So from that point of view, I think it's massive that we've secured that. Massive. Yeah. But as we're saying, we're all talking about AR and party. It would, I do think that it would make us contenders for the title. I'm not saying win the title, but it would make us contenders, because there would be can you imagine the energy going through the club if we got those 2 players? Can you imagine it?
Yeah, it would be. I mean, it's about time for us fans, I think Arsenal fans, that we got some good news, and there was a bit of a good feel factor again around the club. If you look back at the last 5 years, it's been absolute hell, isn't it? You've had protests against Arsene Wenger, you've had protests about Stan Kroenke, we've had fans fighting in the stands, we've had fans shouting at players that they're not fit enough to wear the shirt. It's about time now that, as a fan base, we came together. and as a fan base, we get behind Mikel Arteta, and we get behind. I mean, I know there's people out there saying that, you know, I trust the process, you trust the process. I know there's a few fans out there who are saying, oh yeah, trust the process. Aubameyang's contract is only a cover-up for the fact that we haven't bought anyone. And I understand, patience. But then again, at the end of the day, Lee, I understand where those fans are coming from, because we've been waiting.
100%.
Yeah, we've been waiting for so long for things to happen, and every year we keep getting told, you know, it's happening. I mean, we had Josh Kroenke told us a couple of years ago to be excited. We spent money on Nicolas Pepe, that was great, but we all wanted a bit more, I think, and we deserve. Well, not me probably, because me being over here, but you know, fans who spend well-earned money on kits and tickets and whatever, they deserve a bit of success. Let's just bring this one in here. This is from Jason. It's great news about Aubameyang. Hope you two are both well. Up the Arsenal. We're both well, mate. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Jay. Hope you're well, and love to the family.
That's a double cheeseburger each, that is.
Getting that off for Jay, I'll take that happily.
Now, interestingly enough, you mentioned Lacazette and Chris Hudson. Good evening to you, Chris. Thanks for tuning in.
Evening, Chris.
Still got to get you on here sometime. I still haven't forgotten.
Lacazette gives it all the large.
Lacazette is staying. Now, interestingly enough, I don't know if you noticed it, or I don't know if anyone else noticed it, but while the live stream was happening with Aubameyang on the pitch at the Emirates, Lacazette actually joined him live. And he actually said to Lacazette that he was looking forward to playing with him for more years. So look into that as you take of that what you will. I believe I saw something on Twitter today that suggests that he may be offered a 2-year extension by the club. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that, and listen. I think that Lacazette is starting to prove how important he can be to us. I think at the end of it, you have to. I'm a big believer in this. You know, this is a guy that's working for the cause of the team and the club, and putting his own interests on the back burner because he's not scoring so many goals because of you know the work rate that he's doing for the team. You know what I mean? He's going into areas that he's not doing. He's chasing back. The one thing you can say about Lacazette, he does miss chances. You know, he even missed a pretty good header against Fulham. I thought we could have done better with, if I'll be honest. But the one thing you cannot question about him is that when he walks off the pitch, whether it's after 70 minutes, 80 minutes, or even if the odd game that he finishes, he is absolutely shattered because he's worked his absolute socks off for the team. And I think that, you know, he's a good example to players, you know, and I think that I'm happy that he stays. I don't want to see all our best players go. You know what I mean? What I will say though is if we unfortunately Lacazette's in that position where I don't think there's too many players at Arsenal that gonna get us big money. You know what I mean? Martinez is a bonus for us as far as transfers concerned because he's obviously £20 million. But Lacazette would cop it. Like they're looking at Martinez now. He would have been if Leno hadn't got injured, he'd have probably gone on a free transfer or £1 million to £2 million. So
very true.
We've copped 20 million, and it's I don't think it's the right decision from a footballing decision, but for the financing. Now, if we sell him and we sell somebody else like Torreira, we've got 40 million. That gets us Partey, or that gets us AY. That is what we've got to be looking at. I want this money reinvested, not sold up, and then I look back at the dealings and we're back in credit again. You know, I want to see us, make some real intros into getting the players we want. Unfortunately, Lacazette comes into that category where he's worth money coming up to 30 years of age. We could get 30 million for him, where that's the only downside of it from my point of view. And if the club feel that they can sell Martinez, they can sell Torreira, and they can get rid of Guendouzi, and that means keeping Lacazette, fantastic. But I still think there's going to be one big one to go. I've got that horrible feeling.
I'm with you on that, because at the end of the day, we can all sit around and shout that we want this player, and that player, but we've got to,
we've got to trim.
There's consequence. There's consequence in there. Laka, like you say, I wouldn't like to see Laka go. I like Lacazette. I'd be very disappointed to see him go. Look, I'd be disappointed to see any of them go, to be honest, because we're just. It looks like
really?
we're just. Yeah, I would, because it looks like we're just coming right.
And listen, you've got to be a little bit ruthless here, Craig. This is a team that has let us down over a lot of these players.
Yeah,
it's true. Over the last few years, you know what I mean?
Just me being sentimental, I suppose.
Being sentimental.
Yeah.
And to be fair, you know what I mean? Lacazette, Arteta has got these players better. But the fact of the matter is, I've got no loyalty to the likes of Mustafi, Socrates, Guendouzi. If I was a big fan of Guendouzi, but if Mikel Arteta feels that it's the right thing to do, I know who I'm going to back. And that's it. And this has happened at Arsenal for a very, very long time, going back into the days of George Graham. I never wanted Arsenal to get rid of Charlie Nicholas, but they did. You know what I mean? Like, for the 2 years later, they won the title. You know what I mean? So if we get rid of all these players and 2 years down the line we're challenging for the title, then so be it. And the greatest thing about that is that back in the 88-89 season, 16-1 Arsenal were to win the league. No one gave them a chance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But behind the scenes, they felt that they were doing the right thing. I'm not saying that's going to happen now. It's a different era and all that. But you know what I'm saying is, so these players that are going to go, I have got no sentiment to any of these players. Now, Aubameyang, as great as he is, and I'm fantastic that he's signed, fantastic. But he has not come in and got us to the Champions League, got us to this, got us to that. And the reason that he's not got us to that is because he's not had the players behind him to do it. Because this is a guy that scored goals for us. So give him the tools to go on and be a success as well. You know what I mean? Like, there obviously, I think there's a little bit of it, as I've said. He's captain of the club. He mentioned that today, that it's a big proud moment for him. And he's lifted the FA Cup. I'm pretty sure as a captain, you want a little bit more of that.
Absolutely.
So I think now you've got to say, right, I think, one of the best strikers in Europe on our books now for the next 2 or 3 years. Let's not waste it, Craig.
Yeah,
let's not waste it. You know what I mean? By having inept defenders, inept midfield players. Let's get the right ingredients to push us right on towards doing what we want to do. And I'm fed up of seeing Chelsea down the road buying everything and everybody. I'm wishing that it was us making these sort of deals and all that. But all of a sudden, our deals are not as big as them, but they're as exciting. They are as exciting. Gabriel's, that's excited me as a signing, because it's what we've been wanting. We've now all of a sudden we've got Leno. We've got Gabriel. We've got Aubameyang. The spine is looking strong. We just need that.
Just missing that midfielder.
Just missing that midfielder that just gives us that strength of the spine and any good team has, and we could go on and do really, really well. And that one is Partey, and then you just get all of it. And then if you've got all of those talented players, Ceballos, and our midfield then would be Partey, Aouar, Ceballos, and Granit Xhaka. That is, and probably someone like Willock, like backing it up as well, young kid and all that. That is so much more of a upgrade than what we've got at the moment. And I'll tell you what, El Neni can come in and do a job on in the squad as well. You know what I mean? So you've got 6 players there that can back up what we've got, a very, very good front 6 and a very, very good strong back 5 or 6 as well. Come on, things would look so much better for us. So as much as I'm buzzing about Aubameyang, I still want more, and I'm not going to be. If the transfer window finished now, Craig, I would not be happy with what we've done.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, mate. I just want to come on here. I just want to see some. I take it you can all see that, and that is working properly. I just wanted to come on here and have a word and have a look at what Aubameyang said. A special signing for this club was never in doubt. It's thanks to our fans, my teammates, my family, and everybody at this club that I feel like I belong here. I believe in Arsenal. We can achieve big things together. We have something exciting here, and I believe the best is to come for Arsenal. Now, it goes back to what we were saying, mate, about does he know something that we don't? I truly believe, and I hope I'm right, that Thomas Partey will turn up before the end of the transfer window. I reckon it will go right down to the wire. It will go down to the last day or whatever. We'll all be sitting in front of Sky Sports News till 12 midnight, waiting for him to come in. It could be another Mesut Ozil moment, couldn't it? I mean, everyone remembers where they were when we signed Mesut Ozil that night, and the feeling and the buzz around the club. Again, going back to the buzz would be massive again if on deadline day Thomas Partey turned up at the Arsenal.
Yeah, I think that it would be. I just think that those two signings, I'm going to say those two signings would be as important as getting Sanchez and Ozil were at the time for there. All of a sudden it would be. Do you know what it would say if we got those two signings? This is how I feel, Craig. I think to myself, do you know what? The Emirates, it's worth moving to Emirates because now we've got a squad that's good enough. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, I can't go, but I would be willing to go and watch. But I've watched some crap over the last few years. You know what I mean? Some real poor teams. And I don't think any Arsenal fan really deserves to have had that, over the last few years. You know what I mean? After taking away Highbury and everything like that, all of a sudden it's looking good, and it's all happened because whoever made the decision to bring in Mikel Arteta, that was the key to it all. And I wasn't keen about Mikel Arteta at first. Cheap option and all that. Craig, whoever brought that man in, has got to have a pat on the back. But
and can you remember, just to come in there, can you remember the night we signed him? Can you remember the night we signed him from Everton? Oh, bloody hell. Oh, what do we want him for? Oh, Christ. What a rubbish signing.
Do you know
now look.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what with Mikel Arteta, I don't know if you... I watched him at Everton for a few years. He was sensational for Everton, and he got a bad knee injury. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And we're signing another player with he was never quite the same. But I tell you what he done is he transformed his game from an attacking midfield player to a holding midfield player, and that tells you that he's got football brain, football intelligence. And I just think that he weren't the greatest Arsenal player for us by any stretch of imagination, but nor was George Graham. You know what I mean? Like, it was a good player, but not in the likes of the great Arsenal players. But what he's done is he's come in and listen, I think it proves you don't have to be the best player in the world to be the best manager or best coach. I think that he's doing a fantastic, he's got everybody working hard. He's got everybody doing this, he's doing that. And just give this man the right tools and we can be really good. But it looks like he is, you know what I mean? Listen, the greatest thing about Mikel Arteta, which is where I put him higher than Arsene Wenger, is that everything he tells us the truth. He turned around and said weeks ago, Aubameyang's going to sign. He said weeks ago, don't worry about it. That banner come across the thing. Don't worry about that. The club's going to back me. They're going to give me the signings that I want. He's getting the signings that he wants.
He did tell us. He did, to be fair.
And he's told us that Aubameyang's going to sign. He's told us that we trust me. I will get the players in that I want, and I'm going to trust him because everything the man said has come up trumps. So until that keeps happening, I'm not going to doubt him. So I do think that even Edu has turned around and said we're not done yet. All of a sudden, things are. There's a connection. I don't know if you said there's a little slight connection with the fans again, as we spoke on the show yesterday.
Well, I think that video they put up on the website, Vinay and Edu, was brilliant.
No need to do it.
Whether it comes to fruition or not is another talking point. But at the moment, we can't say nothing about it because we yet to see. But when was the last time, if at all, Arsenal done anything like that?
Exactly, and I think that it's a good thing. All of a sudden, so it's out there, isn't it? It's out there that they're telling us whatever. So they can't deny it, Craig. You know what I mean? So they've come out and they're saying what they want to say. You know, and I think there's from an early part of the season, Mikel Arteta said, "I'm going to get Ceballos back in. He wants to come and play here. We're going to do everything we can to get him back." Where is Ceballos now? He's back here.
Yeah.
So everything they're telling us, they're not sugarcoating it no more. You know, yeah, we know we can't go out and buy a Pepe or a Neymar or someone like that. We can't. We know that, but we can compete with a certain. You know, we can. There's an expectation of what we can do and what we can't do. And the thing is, as I say, the fans are saying. So the club's going, right, here you go, guys. There's free shirts out there. Go and take your pick. And I see fans buying all three. You know what I mean? So the fans are even in this time of trouble, are still finding the money to go out there and buy shirts, go and buy everything there because that's what we do. And what we want is a little bit back. And Arsenal, hopefully, will do that. Listen, if we was to sell Torreira, we was to sell. Martinez, and say we was to sell Guendouzi, and we brought in those two players, we probably spent about 40 million, Craig.
Yeah. It's not bad, is it?
No, it's not bad. That's not blowing your mind sort of transfer, but that's you would turn around and go, do you know what? Hey, hold on a minute. That's not only well done in the business as far as getting the players. That's bloody shrewd as well. We've got people that are thinking doing the right thing for the football club. So I think that, and I think what we've got to do is just, I see on Twitter, we know the ones that are on Twitter saying we ain't done this, done that, and they've got every right to say that come the end of the transfer window. Yeah. But at this moment in time, Aston Villa, I think I was talking to an Aston Villa fan the other day, moaning and groaning, hadn't made a signing a week ago. They were 1 point off of relegation last season, ain't made a signing. A week later, they've signed the centre forward from Brentford. They've signed the goalkeeper now in Martinez, and they've also
Jack Grealish. Yeah,
Jack Grealish signed again. All of a sudden, Aston Villa, we're doing great stuff. Yeah, it took a week. Yeah, but before that, they were all moaning and groaning. So let's be patient. Let's see what happens at the end at the end of it. And we've from our point of view now, we're ticking boxes. At long last, we're ticking boxes. We've ticked the boxes for the defenders. We've ticked the boxes for Ceballos. We've ticked the box for Aubameyang. Willian looks a fantastic signing. People get criticised and going, "Oh, you've got another Chelsea old man and all that." Hold on a minute. He's a quality player. And let's be honest, Craig, and let's be really honest about it. Prime Willian, we couldn't have. We ain't going to be out having a prime Willian. We know what we are at times. You know what I mean? We haven't got it. But I'll tell you what, he's still a very, very top, very, very good player. And we've got now players that can hurt teams. I can tell you this now, that Liverpool will not be thinking, "Oh, this is a nice, easy 3 points against that team from down south that we always stuff." You know what I mean? They're going to be worried about what we do. And I can tell you, God help them if we go a goal in front. Because I'll tell you what, we can pick them off. So they'll be worried. Let's not get a goal down against this Arsenal side because they've got players that can pick us off and we could be in a bit of trouble.
Especially watching the way Leeds went through their defence,
Exactly. So there's always, there's so many things that can happen. So many things that can happen. And we're in a good place at the moment. And, and I know that me and you have had arguments before about, about Arsenal and you can see, why don't they want to sign for Arsenal? This is a top player that wants to, that's committed his last real big, playing days at our football club. Shows you a lot. That's a good thing.
We bring this in now. This comes in from Peace Love. Thanks very much for your kind donation. We're on to 6-9. That's 7 double cheeseburgers.
Cool. I might have some French fries.
Unreal. What's your thoughts on Stan Kroenke, that he hasn't put a penny into Arsenal in the last 5 years? Well, it's obviously very disappointing, isn't it, that we've got a billionaire owner that doesn't, or that won't invest in the club, and buy us what we want. I mean, in a perfect world, like Lee said, we'd love Stan Kroenke to come along every summer and go, well, there's another 200 million. You know, get rid of the ones you spent the 200 million on last year, and you know, there's some more. Stan Kroenke, has he? We all sit here and we all slag him down and this, that, and the other. But Lee, has he been good for the club at all?
Listen, forget about him not spending his money, right? The club is spending money. It hasn't done it wisely, but it has spent money. It spent 70-odd million pound on Pepe last season. Now, let's be honest, if we'd have signed the other way round, for instance, and we'd have got Gabriel on the top centre half for 70 million last season, right, we'd be all going, we're here. And then he brought in Pepe this season for 70 million. We'd all be saying, fantastic. They've done it the wrong way round. But at the end of the day, they still spent money. They spent money on poor defenders. 35 million on Mustafi, you know what I mean, is when that transfer deal was done, I reckon Valencia, they all went out and had a party. You know what I mean? Like, we've got that sort of money for him, like, you know. But the reason they got that money, because we was desperate for a central defender. Desperate, because we'd let it go. The recruitment was all wrong. But now we've bided our time with the Gabriel one. Not really many people knew about him, but we've got him in, and now all of a sudden we've got defenders that really are in a good position for us. And we ain't gonna. We're not in a situation where we're saying, "Oh, we're desperate for Partey." I think, you know, you've got to have a little look at a little bit of shrewdness here from Mikel Arteta, because it was Fulham. Let's say that it is. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll play El Nini in there, and he's had a good game. And all of a sudden, it's done two things. It's gone, well, we ain't desperate for Partey now, are we? But also, if I need to sell, El Nini, I might get an extra 5 million for him if he plays really well against West Ham and he plays really well against Fulham. There's a bloody method to all this madness, you know what I mean? And I see, like, you know, and they might turn around and go, do you know what? El Nini's playing really, really well. So we're not going into Madrid going, oh, please give us Partey. You know, I mean, I think there's some structure on the field now with Arteta, and there's some structure off of it. We're doing some good tactics with our transfer activity. And I you know, also I think what we've got to do, Craig, which is important, is even though we are probably desperate to sell a few of these players, let's not make it out that we're totally desperate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can get this one on the cheap. You know what I mean? Like, well, no, you know what I mean? If we're bide our time, you know. I mean, if you want these players, you'll come back to us and whatever, you know. And I think that's going to happen. And also, to the players' point of view, if they're going to say no, I'm going to stick my heels in here. Like, well, all right, you can stick your heels in here.
It's funny you say that, because it's actually funny you say that, because it's happened today. Sheffield United have come in for that young striker. I can't pronounce his name. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. The young striker that we have there, they've come in and offered £3 million for him. Arsenal have gone back and said, give us 15 and we'll talk. How good is that to hear? At last, a bit of transfer shithousery coming from us. Yeah,
because, like, and the other, like, you know,
is it Balogun? Balogun.
I've not seen him play, but I've seen him play at a few games in the reserves. Looks good, you know. But I see Liverpool a couple of years ago selling Solanke for £19 million to Bournemouth.
This is it.
You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, well, give us 10 and we're letting go, you know. And then you say, right, we'll have some add-ons on it and everything like that. But, you know, if the kid don't want to stay, I get the reasons that he don't want to stay, you know, because he wants first-team football. He's not probably going to get it here, like, you know what I mean? But that's yeah, exactly. Let's see some stuff. We haven't got no loyalty to these players. You know what I mean? I go on this for they've got no loyalty to us. Do you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, so why should we have all the loyalty to them? You know what I mean? Football is a ruthless business, both ends. You know what I mean? And I get it from a player's point of view. If you ain't doing the business, you know, your surplus requirements, you're gone. You know what I mean? Like, so it works both ways. It works both ways. And that's how it is. You know, I mean, no one's really that worried that Mesut Ozil's not playing in the side at the moment, or Guendouzi. That's how ruthless football is. Now, listen, that's probably a wrong example, but I'll tell you someone that hasn't quite performed for Arsenal, but he's done nothing wrong. He's someone like Socrates. I don't think you can turn around and say that he's never given his heart and soul to it and everything like that. But the fact of the matter is, Craig, he's not quite good enough.
No.
But are we bothered that he's not in the team no more? Are we bothered that he's sitting out of the game? No, because it's a ruthless game. Hopefully he gets a move and goes on and goes to wherever he goes and does fantastically well. But for me, never ever good enough to play for Arsenal. And there's 5 or 6 of them that you can say that. I know we had the argument about it yesterday, or the discussion about it. Torreira. I love Torreira. I've got nothing against the guy. You know what I mean? But he ain't good enough for what we want at Arsenal. And I think, you know, a little bit of sentimental comes into it, but I'm not going to be like that no more. You know, if they're good enough, they stay in the squad. If they're not, they don't. You know, and listen, I'll get over Martinez not playing for Arsenal in goal. If we get a couple more players and we're playing Champions League football next season, I'll get over it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think what a lot of the fans have got to realise is, Lee, that we get if you want your parties and you want your Hassam hours or Ua or however it's pronounced, we need Harry on here really, because his pronunciations, the excellence of execution. If we want those kind of players, we're going to have to let go of these. I know, I go back to what I said about. I'm so sorry to see. I want these players in, but at the same time, I'm so sorry to see Martinez going.
Exactly.
You know, I'm sorry to see if Lucas Torreira gets sold. I'll be sorry to see him go. I think it's just on a personal thing. I thought that when Lucas Torreira came in, he played very well for us. And then when Emery started tinkering around with formations and stuff, he just went missing. And again, he was one of those players where, like you just said there, were you bothered then when he was left out of the side? No, you wasn't. You know, out of sight and out of mind, which is a massive shame. Because I thought Lucas Torreira was, when he first joined, I thought he was going to be a part of that spine that we'd been missing so badly. So to see these players linked and moving away from the club, I don't know. It's probably just me. Like I said, it's just my personal feelings and me being too sentimental, I suppose. And actually, like I lie here at night, you know, thinking to myself, is things actually changing now at Arsenal? Because we've all sat down and we've said this so many times before, Lee. Oh, you know, when we signed Aubameyang, it was things are changing. When we signed Mesut Ozil, things are changing. I think the next year, then we were linked with Mbappe. Pictures of Arsene Wenger and Ivan Gazidis in France, going to talk to his representatives. You know, we're all sitting there rubbing our hands together. Things are finally changing. And then we get a kick in the front. You know, we get a kick in the nuts for the last 5 years on the trot. But look, it was only a quick one this evening because we just wanted to come on and say hello and share the good news and get you all in the chat box. And there's nearly 1,000 of you watching. Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much for that amazing support. We are I think we're about 500 subscribers away from 10,000. So if you could share the videos, retweet the videos, tell your mates, you know, that we're here. If you enjoy us, send them our way. They might enjoy it too. 10,000 subscribers is pretty mental. We never thought we'd get those kind of numbers when we first started. 10,000 followers, over 10,000 followers now on Twitter. Things are looking up for the Same Old Arsenal podcast as much as they're looking up for Arsenal Football Club, Lee.
Yeah, I'll tell you what we could do, Craig, and on deadline days, do a little podcast or something.
We could, yeah. Do you know what? I'd like to do that.
Do you know what I mean? Just thinking about it, because we've never had no interest in.
Well, very true.
Well, we might do this time. Like, you know, if things are looking like we could get these couple of players, let's be on air and enjoying it. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I'm not a great lover of them, but I'd like to do one just to see how it goes. I mean, I've been tinkering with the idea of doing a live watch along for the West Ham game. But I'm not too sure if YouTube will put up with my language while I'm watching football for 90 minutes. To be honest, I have to lock the kids out of the room when I'm watching football because my language is atrocious when I'm watching. And if anyone's, I don't know, well, you probably know that from a friendly. I was having a go at the referee at a friendly when we went to watch Arsenal-Chelsea together, but that's just passion, I suppose. But
there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Be a passion, right? You know
yeah.
what I mean?
So look, we will see you on Monday. We will be talking about obviously the West Ham game. Don't forget tonight, if you're about or you stay up, you're a night owl. 2:30 a.m. On the channel, the same old Arsenal USA. I believe it's 6:30 PST time and 9:30 EST time. I believe that stands for Pacific and Eastern. I'm not too sure. I'm not up with the terminology there, but 6:30 PST and 9:30 EST. If you're in America, the boys will be talking about Aubameyang signing. I'm pretty sure they'll be going over the game against Fulham as well. Get over there and support them if you're still going to be around. And of course, on Friday, the team talk with Dan and Graham. Looking forward to the West Ham game, joined by a West Ham fan as well, which is great. To have on. Just one last thing before you go. If you've enjoyed what you've seen tonight, or indeed you've enjoyed what you've seen over the past 3 years, leave us a like. And like I said, share us with all your mates. Tell your mates about us and send them over. So Aubameyang signs for 3 more years. He's our boy. He's our captain. He's our talisman. He's staying. Let's hope. Like I said to Lee, that this is the beginning. This is the beginning of something special at the club, and we see even more better times and even more Aubameyang lifting trophies. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? Until we see you again on Friday with Dan and Graham. Take care of yourselves and each other. Up the Arsenal, Aubameyang.
Aubameyang.